always thought it was him who taught me it, you know. Give him full credit every time I teach it. And but I love the fact that he made art accessible to people. He didn't, you know, it's like he made it less mysterious without losing its magic.
Right.
And so for me, that's what I want to do when I teach my classes is I want to make sure that people know you can do this. And so a lot of people, you know, when they're coming into a class, and maybe it's the first class they've ever taken, you know, because there's that little voice inside them that's saying, oh, I want to make something. I want to make something. But, you know, years, you know, before it got squeezed out of them somehow. And they were like me. They ended up going to a job because, oh, that's a paycheck, you know? And so, so for me, I want to lend them my confidence. Like, so to come in here, not everything that you make is going to be a masterpiece. And so I want to build them up so that they're willing to experiment, because that's where the beautiful stuff really starts to happen, is when they're, you know, kind of blossoming into these creatives that are like, yeah, I'll try that. Absolutely. You know, I'll put that down there. And so, yeah, I love teaching. I love watching somebody who is in, you know, their 70s discover that they have a certain capability, you know, and that they thought, because I was teaching a color class this morning, and I was telling them that the one thing that happens is when, you know, you're little, you're taught that it's an additive process. You know, you just put the paint down. That's it. And then what you learn when you get older that sometimes just doesn't translate is that also be a subtractive process. And so there can be a lot of putting the paint down, lifting it up, you know, and your brush can be something that lays down paint. It can also be something that sucks it up. And so I think that really trying to make things approachable for people is what I want. I want people to enjoy the creative experience.
So how did you know you could be an instructor?
Well, you know, sometimes you, I don't know. I just thought it would be fun to do. But then you have enough experience. Sometimes you have a bad teacher, you know, and so sometimes you can use bad experiences to get you to do something. So then you go, oh, well, I know I can be better than that, you know? And
yep.
So, and I think a little bit of kindness too. Like, I think being open and friendly and approachable and, you know, sharing your love for something that you do, whether it is painting, whether it is, you know, repairing a car, you know, cooking, it doesn't matter. As long as you're putting your love into it, I think that it is, you can do it, and you're going to get better. The longer you do it, the better you're going to be. Like, you know, when I was in the law firm and I first started out as an admin assistant, I would never have been able to do the managerial job that I got 15 years later. It took time, you know, and I would add things on, bag of tricks, and so, and also I did a lot of prepping for things in the law firm. I did a lot of event planning. I did a lot of PowerPoint presentations and the such, and so but people just don't think of it as something that is for creatives or teachers.
But it did help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can plan, and they've gotten better. Like I think they've gotten better over the years. Like, hopefully my students would say the same thing. But I have a little cache of regular people that come together and create, and it's wonderful. So, and I try keep it fresh, so that if they're taking the same course description, they're not getting a repeat.
Now, where were you teaching from the beginning? Was it at your own studio, or did you have to go to a space to teach when you first started this?
I am very fortunate to live in Prince George's County, which is a big fan of the arts. And so I am just down the street from the Greenbelt Community Center. And there was somebody that I knew who worked there that coordinated classes. And so I said, can I take you to breakfast? I just want to pick your brain about it and see what it's all about. And so she was like, yeah, that'd be great. And so we talked, and she goes, okay, submit. And I said, can you send me a sample? Because you should never reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. And then I just decided, I got home, I'm like, I don't need to wait for her sample. I just need to Google that. So I was like, sample class description, and so I ended up, I sent her, I think 3 or 4 proposals, and 2 of them got off the ground that first session. And now pretty much, knock on wood, every one of my classes that I propose runs.
The first classes were the first classes painting or drawing or assemblage?
What were my first classes? Yes, I think the first classes were acrylic painting. Somewhere in there, I did a pet portrait class, because I have a whole system for teaching people how to paint their pets. Because that's what I used to do. I had a little thing of where I'd paint pet portraits, because I was like, there is some beautiful. So at the Phillips Collection, they have the painting, The Luncheon of the Boating Party. I can't tell you how long I stared at the dog in that painting to try to figure out how he, and I will say how he built it, because so when I'm looking at paint, and like, to me, I'm building a painting instead of painting, so I see it in layers. Like, so I see, like, what was the first layer, what was the second layer, third, fourth. And so that's what I'm always looking for in a painting, like, how was that built?
Good to remember. Let's see, on your bio, you are an artist in residence. Now, what exactly is that?
Well, it depends on which one. So there are 1,000 different types of artists in residence programs. The one that I am in with I was a teacher at the Greenbelt Community Center for about a year or so. Another one of the artists in residence there had been trying to encourage me to, apply to be an artist in residence, and I dragged my feet, and so I applied after about a year or so. And so basically that is a juried position. You get, what I'll say is, city subsidized space. And so it's an affordable creative space, which is wonderful. And you're with, I think we have a total of 8 artists in residence currently. And it's wonderful, like, because the community is great. So it's nice to be in your studio. Like, I've missed during the pandemic, I've kind of, like, I love being in my home studio, but I miss the social interactions of the community center studio, because it really is a wonderful group of people that are in and out of that building all day long. So, you know, and then there are other residencies, like I did a residency in France, which was awesome.
How did that happen?
That is, I'm going to say just pure willing it into being.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, I think a lot of times what happens is people just don't apply for stuff, you know, and so I had applied, and I might have been waitlisted at a certain point, or they said apply the next year or whatever. And in my head, like as clear as a bell, I was like, you're mistaken. I will be there next year. I was like, and I was so fixated on it. Like I've only felt that way, I'm going to say probably 3 or 4 times in my life. And I can tell you one was, when I went to buy a car and there was a little red Volkswagen Golf, and I was like, that's my car. And then when I saw this house, I only went house hunting and saw 2 houses, and I hated the first house and I loved this house. Even before I saw the house, I was like, it's got a gravel driveway. It's my house. And my husband. So that was like literally the very, very short list. And so I was like, that's my residence. And so I would just, you know, follow them on Instagram, and I would like what they were doing. And every time I would see a post from them, I would be like, that's my residency. Like, it was just, I just was like, that's my thing. And so I'm going to say probably like June of that year, up popped a little thing on their Instagram that said, we have spaces for, I think, September and November. Let us know if you're interested. And I was like, that's my thing. And so I literally messaged them through Instagram, and then I sent them an email. And then I was like, I sent you an email. I sent you a message, and let me know what I need to do. Here's my availability. and so literally within, I want to think, like on a Tuesday this happened, and then Thursday I had a residency in France.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
like,
fast.
and it was like, I was like, game on, that's mine. Yeah. So
is
put
this
your
all
wishes out there?
Yeah. So is this something that's all paid for to send you to France, and you stay?
No, well, you can get, so there are like lots of grants option, and I did get oh gosh, what is it called? It was Diderot something or other. I can't remember what it was. It's something that defrayed the cost. Mm-hmm. But since I was in such a compressed timeline, I ended up footing it. But I will tell you, worth every glorious penny. Like I would go back in a heartbeat. Like I chose to go for 2 weeks, and it's this chateau, you know, in the middle of nowhere, France, that used to be owned by the family of Alexander, the guy from The Little Prince. Do you know the guy who wrote The Little Prince?
No, but I like his first name.
Alexander. Oh gosh, I gotta Google it. Give me a second.
Were you were you living with a bunch of artists?
Yeah. It was wonderful. It was like it was like being in college, but all you have to do is